Good morning. I'll call this meeting to order for the Desert Water Agency Board of Directors on July 15th, 2025 at 8 o'clock. Just a few housekeeping items. Members of the public may participate either here in the room with us this morning or via the information that's been posted on the agenda to participate remotely. I ask everyone to keep their microphones muted until they're ready to speak during public comment or at another appropriate time, and also for those of us in the room with electronic devices to have those silenced. For discussion and questions, I'll call on directors in the following roll call order: Director Grasha, Director McKenna, Secretary Treasurer Bloomer, Vice President Bowman, and President Ortega. And all votes will be conducted via roll call. And with that, I would like to ask Secretary Treasurer Bloomer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. With that, may we have the roll call, please?
Director Grasha,
Present.
Director McKenna,
Present.
Secretary Treasurer Bloomer,
Present.
and Vice President Bowman's absence is noted. President Ortega.
Present. Thank you. Item 4 on our agenda today is public comment on items not listed on today's agenda. This is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items not on today's agenda, but has to do with or falls within the jurisdiction of the water agency. The speakers are requested to keep their comments to no more than 3 minutes. And as provided in the Brown Act, the board is prohibited from acting on items that are not listed on the agenda today. Ms. Baca, have we received any public comments for items that are not on today's agenda?
No comments have been received.
All right. Do we have any members of the public that would like to speak at this point? Seeing none, we'll move to item 5, which is public comment for items that are listed on today's agenda. Again, we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Have we any comments from the public today on items listed on today's agenda? Seeing none, we can move to item 6, which is our consent calendar. Items that are listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be acted upon by one motion of the board without discussion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a board member requests a specific item to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Are there any items on today's consent calendar that a board member would like to pull for further discussion?
Item B.
Item B, okay. Any others? All right. Item 6B, receive and file minutes of the July 10th, 2025 Executive Committee meeting.
Reading through it, I noticed that, you have it up here. You established a ad hoc committee, I guess, with Director McKenna on sustainable energy, and I wanted to commend you for that. I think it's something that it's going to take a lot of time to get to a point where everybody's comfortable with the possibilities. I don't know if you've been following what the changes that have been taking effect, but there was another sweeping change in just the last 10 days, and don't know what any of this means, but for certain it means that it's going to take a lot of focus, so I'm glad you guys are doing that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Any other comments? All right. So I would look for a motion to accept the consent calendar as presented.
I move item 6, the consent calendar as presented.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
All right. I have a first from Director Grasha and a second from Secretary Treasurer Bloomer. May we have the roll call vote, please?
Director Grasha,
Aye.
Director McKenna,
Aye.
Secretary Treasurer Bloomer,
Aye.
and Vice President Bowman's absence is noted, and President Ortega.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. So item 7 is a discussion item. 7A, Local Agency Formation Commission, LAFCO, meeting debrief districts consolidation and boundary adjustments. And that would be our Director of Public Affairs and Conservation. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, President Ortega, members of the board. So today I want to provide a meeting debrief of what occurred at the LAFCO meeting on Thursday, June 26th. So this is solely a discussion item. There's no recommendation per se. So on Wednesday, June 25th, we received a call to action email from Jeremy Whitty, who is the general manager of the Coachella Valley Mosquito Vector Control. He is also the president of the Special Districts Association of Riverside County, SDARC. I might say that again. So his call to action was regarding a concerning item on LAFCO's agenda the following day, which was titled Commissioner Requested Discussion of District Consolidations and/or Boundary Adjustments and Provide Direction to Staff. So this item was introduced at the request of Commissioner Steve Sanchez, and per the staff report, the intent of the item was to explore the potential for consolidating special districts, providing similar services, or adjusting boundaries to align city limits, city sphere of influences, and/or supervisorial boundaries. The item raised, of course, several concerns related to process, intent, potential impacts on local control, service delivery, and specifically for agencies and special districts like Desert Water Agency, we have unique authorities and operational responsibilities. Your attachment 2 is a comment letter that we submitted, and that was also presented to the commissioners at the 26th meeting. Mr. Whitty also provided verbal comments on behalf of SDARC. There were several opposition letters that were also received and submitted. So a brief recap on the comments from the commissioners. Commissioner Sanchez shared that his intent in the topic was to assess if there were service redundancies and explore ways to improve them. Comments were also made regarding cemetery districts and their services, and that actually appeared to be one of the main driving factors for the conversation. I would say about half of the conversation around the item was regarding cemetery districts, not all special districts. Additionally, throughout the discussion, multiple commissioners, as well as LAFCO staff, made comments and emphasized the roles of MSRs, municipal service reviews. So MSRs are conducted at least every 5 years, and they analyze local agencies, the services provided, spheres of influences, and as discussed in the meeting, there is a chapter about operational efficiencies, and that includes whether consolidation may be appropriate for that entity being reviewed. As a result, the commission directed staff to return at a future meeting with an item specifically focused on the MSR process. And the intent of this discussion item is going to determine whether MSRs are currently asking the right questions regarding efficiencies and consolidation opportunities. LAFCO staff was also directed to engage with both the California Special Districts Association as well as the SDARC as part of the process. So in conclusion, DWA staff will continue to monitor LAFCO agendas as well as stay engaged with the local Special Districts Association of Riverside County to ensure that we remain a part of the conversation, but also informed in any future conversations regarding consolidation, MSRs, or any other similar matters. And with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you very much. Director Grasha.
Thank you for that report. I attended that meeting. I don't know if any of you guys did, but it was, the report was very good and encapsulated the very surface issues that were, the underlying issues that were not talked about during that meeting are substantial and of great concern. Let me put it that way. Not always during these meetings do we hear what's the reality of what's being discussed. And that was a perfect example of what one of those meetings where you didn't get it all if you're just listening. So when I asked originally for this to be looked into and to put it on the agenda, it was in an attempt to ask the board to assign it as one of our board compensated meetings. And it would not be appropriate at a public meeting to go into all of the different aspects of this. Probably the next year and a half or 2 years, because some of it's supposition at this point, but I can tell you that it will possibly and likely have severe consequences to special districts operating in Riverside County. There was one section that was brought up during that meeting that didn't get mentioned in the report, and that was the economic failure of a hospital district out in Blythe. And as a result of that hospital's failure, medical services are no longer being, emergency services no longer being provided. And now, I don't know where that comes from, but there's some talk about Desert Hospital District taking over another failed hospital, which it just, one more part of this thing that is just, unimaginable how, the Desert Water Agency Board couldn't manage Desert Hospital. They had to, sell it. And now they're going to, it's just, the oddness of that alone is enough to want to pay attention. But at the next meeting, which I believe is on Thursday, of the LAFCO board, there will be 3 items. All 3 of them are consolidations of water districts. Little areas and big areas and changes. The only thing being discussed are 3 water districts. So there's a lot going on. And like I say, whenever I say I don't want to talk too much out of school, but I always end up doing it anyway. So I'll leave it at that and ask that you put this on our list of meetings approved for attendance by any board member, because I think it's that important. But if you want to assign someone, that's fine too. But
Okay, thank you. Director McKenna?
Well, I do have a question. I have no disagreement with anything you wrote, of course, but hypothetically, does LAFCO have any authority to require a consolidation? I can understand if we desired one, we would go to them. But do they have can they take the initiative on this?
Thank you for the question, Director McKenna. I actually want to toss this to our legal counsel, Mike Riddell. Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, actually, LAFCOs now can initiate changes in boundaries and consolidations of their own volition. Now, there can be opposition, and as you might imagine, LAFCOs are kind of reluctant to do that without knowing in advance how it's going to be, how it's going to play with the affected districts and with members of the public. But I believe they do have the legal authority to initiate a consolidation of their own volition.
Thanks, that's helpful.
Secretary Treasurer Bloomer?
I don't have any questions. Thank you for the update and keeping an eye on the agendas.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions. I'm not quite finished yet. With regard to Director Grash's request, I feel that our staff is able to handle that at this point in time. I don't think it's important to have that on our list of meetings, but if the pleasure of the board is different than that, I will certainly entertain that if there's a motion to be made. I mean, this does not just start out as an action item, but I guess it could move to that if it.
well, it did start out as an action item.
No, it started
That
off
was
as,
the only
it's actually,
action that was requested.
no, the discussion item is here. That's what,
Right.
on the agenda is a discussion item. That's what I'm
Right.
referring to.
This item is a discussion item, and if the outcome of it, and Director Gracia, for you to provide the opportunity to make the formal request of the board, we can add it onto our next board meeting for the action to have it added to the board compensated list of external events. So that would happen at the next board meeting, but we can put that on the board meeting so the board can make a vote.
But we could also take the action now, could we not?
It's not, it's an item that is not on the agenda. The item here was an update on what had happened at the last LAFCO meeting and not a request to take an action. So while there is always a possibility to move an item to an action item, it is not on the agenda to add it to the listing of events. And so we can add that specific request to the next board meeting.
So I would ask that the board, I hope I have 3 votes for this, put it on the next agenda for addition to,
So
for attendance.
do
I
we-
can assure you that everybody would have an interest in board members attending this meeting. And staff should be welcome also, but this is something that concerns our community that we represent more than it affects the staff or this agency.
I'm going to look to our general manager. Welcome, by the way, in your new role. I was hoping to save that for later, but so is the request by Director Gracia, is that something that we as a board would take an action to vote on today to add it to the agenda? Or I'm a little confused about the process
No,
here.
we do not need to take a vote to make the request, but I'm receiving the feedback and I can definitely put it onto the next agenda for a formal vote to add it to the listing of events.
All right, thank you. All right, so I guess that means we can move to item 8, which is our Secretary Treasurer's report, and welcome our new Finance Director. Good morning.
Oh.
Good morning. Thank you, President Ortega, members of the board.
Okay, so the financial highlights for May of 2025 in the operating fund, we received $4,610,487 in water sales revenue receipts and $144,901 in recycled water sales revenue receipts, $4,000 in construction deposits. We paid $4,303,871 in accounts payable. Year to date, our water sales are 15% over budget, and total revenues are 18% over budget, and expenses are 10% under budget. Our active potable water services, we had 23,716 active billed in May, compared to 23,710 billed in April. So we had an increase of 6 services month to month. There were 35 water accounts turned off for non-payment in May of 2025. Over the past 12 months, an average of 28 accounts per month have been turned off for non-payment, which is 1.4% annual disconnection rate. In the general fund, we received $14,574,182 in property taxes, $1,830,662 in replenishment assessments. $1.4 million of that was paid by Desert Water Agency, and about $400,000 paid by private pumpers. $641,533 in state water project refunds, and we paid out $1,848,636 in state water project charges. In the wastewater fund, we received $53,289 in operating fund reimbursements, and we paid $179,836 in accounts payable. For active sewer accounts, there's 2,259 in May and 2,244 billed in April. So we had an increase of 15 active accounts. And if you have any questions, I'm sure the finance director can answer them.
I do have one.
Director Gracia?
So is the 15%, is that another new high in terms of the amount of extra water being over the budget? It seems like it was 8 or 12 or something. It seems like it's just going up. And for how long of a period of time does that count for? Can you fill me in on that? Oh,
Yeah, so it's year to date, and it's been around 14%, I think, for the last 3 or 4 months.
so the year is starting in July 1 or?
So in July 1, we will have a reset, and so hopefully if I budgeted appropriately, we should see that number more in line with what the budget is.
Okay.
This is actually end of the year. Correct.
year,
Yeah, this is through May, so we'll have one more month where you'll see the fiscal year 25 figures.
Maybe we can look back on that at our next finance committee meeting. Also, I saw a copy of the statement of the charges from the State Water Project. And I'd like you to add that to our next finance committee agenda too. Maybe we could do a short class on what all those numbers mean, because there were numbers in there I didn't recognize. So I would like a quick primer on that.
Yes, we can certainly do that at the next finance
Great,
committee
thanks.
meeting.
Director McKenna?
I have nothing, thank you.
No?
No?
Okay. Then nothing from me. And with that, we can move to item 9, which is our general manager's report. Now in your official presentation of the general manager's report, I guess.
Yes, I'm no longer an imposter presenting it. Okay, let me just get to it here, just 1 second. Okay. So we have, per Director McKenna's request, the last board meeting, he had requested an update on the water deliveries to date for this year. And so we have our 2025 water delivery update. And on April 1st, 2025, Metropolitan has started water deliveries to the Coachella Valley via the Whitewater River Channel to the Whitewater River Replenishment Facility. And as of July 9th, approximately 98,000 acre-feet of water was delivered to that facility. And that Whitewater River recharge facility, that is for the Indio Subbasin, or we also call it the West Whitewater River Subbasin. Metropolitan plans to deliver about 250,000 acre-feet of QSA water, the Quantification Settlement Agreement water, to the Whitewater Recharge Facility and in the first part of the year. And the State Water Project deliveries to the Whitewater facility will occur after that QSA water is delivered. That QSA water is water that is CVWDs, but as you recall, these facilities, they are joint use facilities because we both occupy both subbasins. Metropolitan, they do intend to maximize the deliveries to the valley through the end of the year, and they are anticipating the final delivery of approximately 320,000 acre-feet of water to the West Whitewater Recharge Facility, which of that amount, approximately 70,000 acre-feet will be State Water Project water. The balance of the State Water Project water deliveries between the Indio Subbasin and the Mission Creek Subbasin, in order to balance that, staff has coordinated with Metropolitan and CVWD to begin deliveries to the Mission Creek Recharge Facility beginning on July 8th. And we are anticipating delivery and requested delivery of approximately 3,000 acre-feet of State Water Project water to be delivered to that facility. And those deliveries, which have already begun, will take place through the end of July. At our current delivery rate of approximately 55 cubic feet per second, it'll take about a month to deliver that requested amount. And if all the deliveries proceed as planned, additional deliveries to the Mission Creek Recharge Facility may be scheduled later in the year. And the total water deliveries to the Mission Creek Recharge Facility and the Whitewater Recharge Facility are anticipated to be 323,000 acre feet for the year. Moving on to our system leaks. For the period of June 24th through July 7th, we had a total of 23 leaks. And so we have now kind of gotten over that hump of increased leak rate according to what we believe to be the change of temperatures, which we typically see when we have a major swing. They increased approximately 3 per day. Now we're back to under 2 per day as our rate of leaks. So moving on to our human resources meetings and events. Our human resources director, Hopping, is out on vacation this week, and so I will present a few on her behalf. In the event section, you see she had a couple meetings with the Teamsters, and this is a meeting with the union and the designated employees for the collective bargaining unit according to the meet and confer process. Also conducted was our outgoing general manager, Steve Johnson's exit interview. Moving on to the general manager's meeting and activities. So for the past couple of weeks, we held an IT planning session for kind of the remainder of the year, everything that we have going on within those initiatives and how to accomplish those. So that occurred on July 1st. July 2nd, we had, again, that exit meeting that I attended as well for General Manager Steve Johnson. On the 4th, we had the holiday for Independence Day. And the 7th, 8th, and 9th, I was on vacation. And so my meetings are a little bit light in this period because of that. And on the 10th, I returned and had a CPR training. And on the 14th, yesterday, we held our site's operational plan review meeting. And then, which brings us to today, with our bi-monthly board meeting, and that concludes the general manager's report. And I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you. Director Grasha, any questions?
I have no questions.
Okay. Director McKenna.
I have a couple. First of all, on the recharge, that 323,000 acre feet of water is a huge amount of water. What is the status of the 250,000 that is a quantification settlement agreement? Are we on the hook to not get water in the future? Is that entirely an MWD issue? What goes on there?
What is the
What is the status of the 250,000 acre feet that Metropolitan has put into the recharge facility?
So the quantification settlement agreement, that is CVWD water, not DWA. So that is not water that we manage, and I do not have an update on the status of it and their agreements with it. That is just water that is prioritized for delivery before State Water Project water generally. And so that QSA water gets delivered first, then State Water Project water.
Okay, leading on from that.
The QSA is 100,000 acre feet, right?
It's 35,000 and then 15,000. They have two different buckets of water that they pull. And CVWD and Metropolitan are working on this agreement for another 200,000 for the year.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's an advanced QSA.
It's advanced delivery.
So, yeah.
And then 70,000 acre feet, you say, is State Water Project water. Is that all of ours, or is that again split between Desert Water Agency and Coachella Valley?
That 70,000 is split between DWA and CVWD. So our agreement with Metropolitan Water District is we have the same contract. It is a contract exchange agreement between CVWD, DWA, and Metropolitan, so all with the same terms.
Okay.
So we manage the water and the deliveries together and then split it according to our 2004 settlement agreement with, as far as the deliveries go between the two sub-basins.
How much of that 70,000 is ours, so to speak?
Of ours, let's see. So we have 55,750 is ours. When we add CVWD, we're just south of 200,000 acre feet of state water project water, but that is our total allocation, and we are receiving 50% of that. So we're expecting, so that's, would be around a little bit less than 100,000, and yeah, and about 25% of that 70,000 is ours, is roughly what is ours, and then it gets split between the two subbasins.
Okay. I wonder if I could ask for some kind of table and for next time that explains whose water this is, where it goes, and what happens to it afterwards. Because I really don't yet understand how 250,000 acre feet can go in there. I don't see that Coachella Valley has the capacity to pull out 250,000 acre feet for years.
And so when you say what happens after, you're requesting for deliveries and what we have recharged versus what is being pumped and
Yeah,
utilized?
well, all of that. Essentially, 323,000 acre feet of water goes into that aquifer. Whose is it? And when do they take it back out? That's my question. I'm trying to also look, I'm preparing ahead of time for a question from Director Griffith at Mission Springs about how much water we put in Mission Creek. And we typically do 92%, 8% split, but I don't know what the 8% would be. You said it was 70,000 acre feet state water project, of which half is ours? 25% of ours?
Approximately, yes.
So we're looking at 8% of 25% of 70,000. I haven't done the math yet, but
I think that percent comes from what our 52,000 acre feet annually, which was, I think you mentioned at the opening, you said that we had an original agreement, and then there was which was some 30-some thousand acre. I'm probably making this more confusing, but it's a little over 50,000 acre feet a year. That is our allotment, I guess what we call Table A.
We have, yes, 55,750 is our Table A allocation. That Table A allocation is how much we're contracted for with the State Water Project. However, that does not mean that we receive 55,750 each year, because then it is based off of the hydrological condition, the operational capacities and limitations of the State Water Project system, that then determines how much water we actually get delivered, and that is available for delivery. So that is available for our exchange with Metropolitan Water District. And so in this year, it is 50%. So we are working off of 50% of our 55,750. That is how much we are exchanging with Metropolitan for Colorado River water. But we also have, there is complications. I wouldn't say complications. There are nuances more that we are not receiving State Water Project water. We are receiving Colorado River water. So we are exchanging with Metropolitan according to our exchange agreement. Now, the deliveries, they do not deliver to us. Even if we had 100% year and we were looking for that 55,000 acre feet, we may not receive 55,000 acre feet in that year, in that given water year for that delivery. So we have an exchange account that they have advanced delivered, and so we have a tracking of how much water has actually been delivered according to that exchange account, and they have over-delivered at this point in time. And so is there anything else that should be added to that for high level?
The advanced delivery, I think it's like 400,000 acre feet.
Right.
that they've
So
advanced
the
us.
8%, I get what I'm trying to say is the 8% isn't on the entire amount of water comes in the valley. It's on that 55,000. And that, as you just perfectly explained, is unexplainable. So
I would say that the 8%.
It's a mystery number of what actually, until we actually get it, I think.
Well,
But that's what the 8% is based on, our right?
8% that goes into Mission Creek. So that is how it splits. So there's a difference between how it splits between DWA and CVWD as far as, like, this year we're getting that 70,000. Our portion, DWA's portion is approximately 25% of that.
But then we put that total together, that 70,000, irregardless of how it splits between DVWA and CVWD, and then we say, now production between the two sub-basins by CVWD and DWA together, what was the production between the two sub-basins? And then, so we take that full 70,000 in, and we split it to the two sub-basins, 8% currently for Mission Creek, and 92% currently for Whitewater, the Whitewater sub-basin. Well, yes, we do have the numbers for how much would have been DWAs, that can be calculated, but that is how it is split between the two sub-basins. So we're dealing with a split between CVWD and DWA, and we're also dealing with the split between Mission Creek and West Whitewater. So, and we do have the numbers on that, and we, Director McKenna, to respond to your request, that is something that we are currently refining. We have a settlement agreement, as I mentioned, the 2004 settlement agreement between Mission Springs Water District, Coachella Valley Water District, and Desert Water Agency that outlines how we deliver the water. That was put into place. It was agreed in 2004, and it has a 20-year timeline. And in 2024, we met the first, not timeline, the first kind of check-in period where it says within 20 years, you will attempt to make the deliveries to each basin balanced within a 20-year period to provide the operational flexibility. Now, there are caveats to that say, with the operational constraints and all of that, so there's room for a little bit of wiggle room, but our attempt is to make sure that those basins are balanced based off of the production and based off of what we are putting back into those sub-basins. So we are at that timeline, and we are currently working between the three water districts to ensure that we all agree on all of the specific numbers. So prior to providing that, we just received some more comment on it yesterday evening. We would like to make sure that we are all in agreement before we provide anything publicly with regards to those figures. And then it says every 20 years thereafter. However, DWA is taking the stance that we want to make sure that if we can, every year, we want to try and make that balance so that we don't have to try and catch up at any point in time. So, but granted, there are operational considerations and just things happen. We had this storm, Hillary, which took out ours, which then we couldn't take water. So we want to be aware that things can happen, and sometimes we may not be successful making it balanced every single year, but that is our goal, steady stream of water to be able to provide deliveries to the Mission Creek sub-basin as we are able.
One more thought.
After you, but I do have more to say, but after you.
Well, I wanted to mention that we're putting in a new meter. I think we approved it a couple of meetings ago. And that's going to be very helpful for everybody and that's going to measure what actually comes into that. We should have a ribbon cutting or a groundbreaking ceremony for that, I think, so everybody can see what's happening. It's about $800,000 for a water meter, and it's going to be a big help. So anyway, sorry.
Go ahead, Director McKenna.
Okay, so I think what prompted my question last time was that I could see when I'm hiking that the reclamation, the facility, recharge facility was 70% occupied with water, and I thought, where's all that water coming from? I understand that now, but I think we could have a little more clarity on whose water this is and where it goes. And I know I'm going to be asked the question, is Mission Creek getting its fair share of a state water project water? And I can't answer that question with the information here. So I wonder, could you elaborate on it and clarify it a little bit for next time? I would definitely appreciate that.
Well, it seems to me that you, as water agencies, the three, are working on that, right? So you're working with your counterparts at Mission Springs, and ideally, our staff and their staff will come to an agreement on that those are the numbers, and I would hope that information would be shared with their board in the same way that it's being shared with ours.
Yeah, but I don't see it yet.
No, because they're not there yet. We're
right.
still working on it.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Yes,
No,
and when we do have those figures finalized and agreed upon between the three agencies, we will be able to bring that back to
great,
you.
I appreciate that. And I have a second question, entirely different subject, and that goes to Teamsters. And I have to disclose, I was a member of the Teamsters when I was driving a truck for the Good Humor Company during my summer vacations as a student. But I have no problem with agency staff joining the Teamsters. But I'm a little concerned about this. Seems to be back and forth. What exactly is the current status of some of our employees voted to join the Teamsters and some of them did not. I think it was a majority of one that took the vote. Can you tell us what exactly is going on?
With regards to the Teamsters currently represents the bargaining unit of our staff level employees. And so that is everybody that does not have a supervisory role or is not considered a confidential position. So that is, to generalize it, it is construction, operations, and, accounting, engineering, all those departments, but no one that have of a supervisory capacity. So because the Teamsters will not represent, or in this instance is not representing those who could potentially have a supervisory role over someone else. So in the case of a dispute happens, they don't want to be representing both sides of the table. So that's our current status with them, is that they do represent a portion of our employees, and we are just engaging in the meet and confer process and really establishing ground rules. But there's not much more that I can say about that, given the manner in which those meetings are being held.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
No.
Okay, and Director Grasha.
I just wanted to ask Mr. Riddell if he could chime in on a thought that I'm having. And I think that although you can speak in very general terms on these, wouldn't that fall under the discussion of basically falls into employee negotiations? Isn't that something that would have to really be, should it be talked about like we just did, or is that a closed session item? I don't know at what level it becomes. I think it does become problematic for the board to. Mr. Riddell, do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, my thought is that the negotiation should be confidential, discussed in closed session, until they reach a conclusion, at which time they're made public. But a discussion of who's represented by the Teamsters Union and who's not, I think that can be discussed in open session.
Okay. That's kind of what I thought, as long as it stays very general.
Yeah.
But there may be, Mr. McKenna might have some specific questions, and if he does, that would be closed session, I think.
Right. I don't sense that we're there right now.
No, and I just wanted to point that out for the future.
All
'Cause
right.
It just started to think, I think we could easily slip into an area that got a little bit.
I think our staff is savvy enough to know where.
I think
where
they
our
are
line
too,
is.
but on the other hand, they.
maybe the
trying to
board
sa-
is.
try- Trying to satisfy the board can sometimes get tricky too. So.
All right, so we can move to item number 10, which is director's reports on meetings and events attended on behalf of the agency. And my script has some things in bright red this time, which apparently isn't meant to get my attention. I will read it verbatim. Ask each board member whether they need to report out on any compensable only meetings or events recently attended on behalf of the agency. Please ask them to announce each date of the meeting or event. So I guess what I would like to clarify is, are we not supposed to mention meetings that we have attended on behalf of the or meetings that we've attended but not on behalf of the agency in terms of compensation?
This item actually is for only items that are compensable. They're
Okay.
more than welcome to mention them, but basically it's items that they are paid to attend.
Or we could just ask those to be held till the director's comments. Could we not?
That's
that-
fine.
does that
Yeah,
work?
if we could keep it separate,
Yeah, okay.
it's easier for
All right.
tracking. Thank you.
All right, all right. So With that, if we'll start with Director Gracia, focusing on compensable events, and if there are any others that you'd like to mention, we will save those for our director's comments and requests.
Okay. So going back to July 1st was Desert Water Agency Board meeting. And then July 7th was IT security training. And July 8th was the Coachella Valley Water District Board meeting that I attended. And on July 9th, I attended I got two of them here. So the Data Insights meeting, that was a meeting through Aqua. And then there was future proofing. I'm not sure which one of these will end up on there, so I'm going to say both. Future proofing water utilities through, they're both the same, data centralization. Okay, so that was the same meeting. There's another one that got very interesting. The 10th, let's see if that's it. The federal impacts on California priorities. This was an Aqua-sponsored event that was for Wade Crowfoot. Is that right? God, I hope I got that right. Hosted, and it was a discussion about their perceived, our perceptions that, and how things are changing at the state level as far as funding goes in regard to the changes that have been forced on them by the current administration in the White House. It was interesting, fascinating, and I think down the road will have effects on every water agency in the state. In fact, I know the effects are already being felt. We're kind of insulated from that because we're not, well, on the surface we're insulated on it, but the effects of what goes on the Colorado River and the state's involvement in that are could have serious ramifications for us and here in the Coachella Valley Desert Water Agency. There were several points during that meeting that I wished I could have interjected, but I felt like it was probably better for the district not to. And then, and that brings us to today.
Okay, thank you. Director McKenna.
Well, I have to say, sometimes I'm confused myself about whether something is compensable or not compensable. And as a good example, I attended Desert Hot Springs City Council meeting on July 1st. It's the same day as we have our meeting, so it's compensable but not compensable, if you follow my drift. Anyway, I reported to that meeting. I invited the new city manager to take a tour of our facilities if she wished. I'm told that the meeting generally that we have a public tour in the fall that anyone wants to go to should contact me. I reported out that we had reduced the Desert Water Agency tax on property to 6 cents per $100. I got a round of applause for that, believe it or not. So that's the only external meeting I attended on behalf of the agency since our last board meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. Secretary Treasurer Bloomer.
I have no external meetings.
And I don't have any either. So
You guys get away with not having an internet training.
it's all about timing.
So am I really that bad at running my email that I have to do it every month? And you guys,
I can't answer that question. I have no idea. So we'll move to item 11, which is
Still time.
director's comments and requests. Director Gracia.
I wanted to ask staff that sometime in the future provide a review for the board of our safety protocols. And that, I know you have I think you have, I've heard it mentioned, a safety lunch that focuses, what's that, once a year? I spent 3.5 years working on driving one of these big old trucks out back with a crane on the back, fixing pumps in the oil field. I can remember back when I was a teenager, and the things that I learned the hard way could have been easily learned the easy way. And I wanted to, I know it's been always something that was always been important to the agency, and I just want to make sure that we don't lose that in our transition that we're going through. I won't bore you with some of the things that I experienced during my time out in the field, if you will, only in the oil fields as opposed to, that was why I transitioned to water. I learned the hard way that in petroleum products, things go boom pretty quick. So that's how I ended up going down a different route. But I want to make sure we stay focused on that, and I'd like to know. I was reading a general manager report from a neighboring agency, and it described one young man, I'm going to assume, how he got injured. And the idea that he didn't know that it was a bad idea to try to carry a jackhammer down the side of a canal was a bad idea. I don't know how. I thought to myself, yeah, somehow he should have known that he shouldn't start down the edge of that canal with a jackhammer. They're pretty heavy. And so that was what made me think to bring this up. So
Thank you. Director McKenna, do you have any requests or comments?
I just want to appreciate our new general manager, the work she's doing, our new finance director, the work he's doing, and our new chief engineer, who's always been here. But, and so I think it's great to look at a team that organized and professional across the room. I think it's really excellent. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Secretary Treasurer Bloomer?
No comments or requests, thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, and I have nothing else to add, so that takes us to closed session next. It's 10 minutes of 9. If we could meet at 9 o'clock for closed session. Thank you. Right, so welcome back to open session. Item 13 on our agenda today. I can report that there was no reportable action taken during closed session. And with that, we can adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.